Good morning. Today, I almost got scammed. Uh, and it was so elaborate too. It was great. I was looking forward to it. An interview with Real Vision. I tried to verify to make sure that, whoever's talking to me is actually working there and stuff. Everything looked legit. And then, 10, 15 minutes before the call, I am just trying to be prepped, make sure everything works for the recording. And I mean, okay, to be honest, there was like something at the back of my mind, just a little gut feeling of like just make sure, but everything was checking out. And I click on the link to join the call, and it's like, oh, you need to install this plugin. I'm like, but it was like WeChat. I never used WeChat before. Maybe that's how WeChat worked. I tried to press install, and on your Mac, the DMG thing pops up where you got to put into applications, right? But this one said go straight into terminal. I was like, whoa, no, I'm not putting anything into terminal that I don't have like the source code for. And then literally immediately after I found like a post by the real Vision on Twitter, it's like, oh, don't trust these guys, they're scammers. So I said, nope, can't cancel. But they sent me real questions. It was great. Like the questions that they had, the stuff that we might talk about. So I'm just gonna interview myself at this point. Um, just use the content, right? So here we have Kitty here. You might want to ask the question. Yeah, you want to ask the question? All right. What was the first question? They asked me to like make some edits as well to like the questions that they sent, so like I contributed to it. I changed some stuff around. They're like, oh, it's gonna be great. Social engineering at its finest. I actually kind of appreciated it. So, question one. Let's start with the big idea. What is Grinvault, and what problem are you solving? So, Grinvault is self-custody Bitcoin finance. We are really just entering the Bitcoin lending market, um, working with partners, working with HTLC and pre-image technology to allow people to self-custody Bitcoin collateral and borrow against it. We see ourselves positioning somewhere between Lava and Liquidium, and really offering an opportunity for people to take fiat loans against their Bitcoin in a centralized manner, but using wallets that they know and trust and have very little liquidation risk. So, what's the backstory? How did the team come together? Wait, how did I do this? So, what's the backstory? How did the team come together, and what inspired this project in the first place? So I'm a founder in car. I come from car finance. I've been doing car finance, car leasing, and to asset tokenization for the past um, almost 5 years now. And just last November, I saw all the real world asset tokens like pump, but no dollars. I wasn't getting any dollars from my fund to do more car leases. And I called around, asked my buddies in the space, like, hey, what's going on? Everyone's pumping. Where's the dollars? And they're like, nah, this is all just shitcoiners pumping, pumping and dumping. There's no actual dollars flowing in. Do more research, and I realized there's only two real areas that are working in real world assets. One is like if you have a partner like BlackRock, um, they billions of dollars in assets, and you can improve their process by 1%. Even you have a great business. Or you're someone like Maple actually, and you use Bitcoin collateral for anything, Bitcoin plus something else in the real world. So I just decided then and there I got to pivot over to Bitcoin. I'm done with this whole trying to tokenize the assets. There's operational risks and counterparty risks and cross-border risks and contract risks and so many things, regulatory risks that we kind of like learned and worked through and figured out and got to understanding. Um, a lot of these things which can actually be mitigated with a really good Bitcoin collateral technology. So that's kind of what we went through the Bitcoin Startup Lab, and it kind of brought us to where we are now. We explored some ordinal projects, possibly GameFi, other opportunities, but I really kept coming back to Bitcoin finance or lending. Awesome. That's great to hear. So question 3. So you're really pushing this idea of bank yourself on the Bitcoin standard. It's a great, love the phrasing. Can you break down what that means in practice? What that means in practice, we're still very early, but as a mission, as a vision, we want to onboard all muggles to Bitcoin. And we want to make it safe and easy and truly live up to the ethos of what it was intended to be. Now, I personally don't think it's a currency yet. Some people do use it as such, which is awesome. But specifically, self-custody, not having to be forced to let go of your Bitcoin for any reason, and really working with Bitcoin in a safe and fun manner, is for me what it means to be banking yourself on the Bitcoin standard. Everyone is at a different stage, and supporting that journey is very critical. That's really cool. So let's just dig into like your customers and see what kind of customers are you trying to attract or work with? Like you have a grand vision. Where are you getting started? Are you working with maxis, degens, the unbanked, or just freelance contractors and businesses? So initially we're putting our fingers everywhere. Like I believe the best place to start is not to reinvent the wheel. Work with it where everybody else is working. Do short-term deals, usually with traders trying to leverage their Bitcoin to make some money. And this does tend to be like degens and traders, and also just business people. I think they're people run their credit cards or carry a balance for a bit to take care of inventory. So higher rates, shorter terms is where I think we're initially starting. But the real untapped opportunity is in the guys who are sitting on 100K plus worth of Bitcoin, the guys who want to spend that on a down payment for a house, or on a car, or just longer term business opportunities that can generate more cash flow that can help them buy more Bitcoin through the dips, right? That is like it's starting, like people are starting to tap into that, right? I think Ledden's done a great job at that. But really that long-term opportunity is still, I think, untapped. And the biggest thing we find is really just security and comfort. Like we don't want you to have to set up your own app, like a new app or anything. You can use, wallet. Like you don't have to set up your own wallet. You can use the wallets that you are already used to, whether it's Unisat, Ledger browser wallets, or later on just from your Sparrow wallet directly. Awesome. That's okay. Great. That's great to hear. What's your initial traction? How far have you gotten with these customers that you're speaking of? So initial traction is we mainly had LOIs that we've signed with people on both sides, lenders and borrowers, up to 10 Bitcoin worth of LOIs altogether in volume. Now, I will say LOIs are definitely not deals. They're not customers until they've paid and actually used your product. And I've been trying to make some of these work. We've done one deal like worth $3,000, and it's early. Been talking to all of those who have signed LOIs, have been talking to people more than that to really understand what's the gap between lenders and borrowers, and that's what we're currently focused on bridging. So you'll see a lot more features being shipped in accordance to that, and our North Star really is more lenders and more borrowers on both sides. Great. So you're pretty early. What are you thinking about in terms of the product and what's next on the roadmap, and where you're positioning in the market? I think I preempted the answer to this. I think we're positioning ourselves right there between Lava and Liquidium as a peer-to-peer experience, self-custody experience, use your own wallet experience, no liquidations until end of term, together with like an actual fund, kind of in a more traditional fintech approach, so that you don't have to like wait on peers to support the liquidity in the ecosystem. And how do you think about trade-offs between like decentralization and user experience, especially in a financial tool like you mentioned that you're bridging, you're trying to use this, go a traditional fintech route with this, while the technology is more self-custody. What are you actually trading off? So when it comes to like larger funds or investors, it really is a matter of time. Like I think you might even ask Liquidium um, founders and people who have used Liquidium. Like I've tried it for myself. Absolutely love them, and it's very human time intensive. Like you got to stay on top of it. You got to use go through the process, allocate capital to different offers. You can make great returns, and you can get great liquidity actually. And they're working on continuously improving that, like with their instant loan product. So it's a great place to be, to provide security and to provide trust with people and build community fund. And to scale it up, really, I think you got to lean into like what works for TradFi. One thing that came up to me from my experience in car finance before, like tokenizing cars, right? We're like, oh, you can invest in specific vehicles, but really, people who might be limited partners in a fund are like, sure, but we don't want adverse selection. Like we don't want that. Oh, this partner gets all the best deals, and we get stuck with the worst. And there's, you could just split up every car that way, but at that point, why not just pool everything, right? So that was an interesting learning from the past and moving forward. And I think we'll just keep it simple with like an angel list fund in the US to just pool things, keep it rolling, and just keep deploying. But I might be on a bit of a tangent there. No, that's cool. Like it seems like the investors care a bit less about the decentralization and just more about the trust and ability to deploy. Is that correct? And can you walk us through like the core experience for them and also for the borrowers? No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like that is exactly it. I think with larger investors who have funds, it is more about the trust, legals, and like as long as you have some Bitcoin on your balance sheet and like you're transparent about it, they care about the security, the custody, the technology, and they care more about their time. As for the experience, so I mentioned, we're trying to set up an angel list fund for on the investor side, lender side, and as for the borrower side, looking at two experiences, something a bit more smaller, faster, quicker for people to play around with, test it, get comfortable. The testnet is up. Let me see if I can put that in the captions here. HTTPS bitcoin-loan-mvp.com. No, mvp.versal.app. There we go. Okay, yeah, that's where the MVP currently is on testnet. Love to get some more feedback on that. But really, it's just HTLC plus pre-image implementation. which is technology used in Lightning, and you can you set up the escrow wallet that you put money into, and you determine whether that money gets returned to you because you made the payment, or gets sent over to the lender if you're basically defaulting or liquidating yourself. Awesome. That's a lot. Thank you for sharing about the product and the users. I just have more like uh, more grander vision questions left for you into segment into the next bit of the segment. So great, I lost it. Yes, bigger picture. So bigger picture, segment four. Um, how do you see Grinvault actually fitting into the broader trend of sovereign individuals and financial custody, self custody? I don't have a longer answer for this one. We'll keep it short. It's really just pushing the envelope forward. I'm really inspired by LIFO's work, and for self custody tools for Bitcoin art and Bitcoin transactions, where you know from your browser you can really take ownership and do everything you need to do. You don't have to trust any third party. So that's that's the essence of it. I think trust is great. I think trust makes things efficient, and um, when you when you lose like the trustworthy person in the middle, that's when you basically have counterparty risk. Because when you lose that trustworthy relationship, um, you get down, or just when things go bad, like you can have all the best intentions, but things do sometimes not work out. And when they don't, then it really comes down to incentives. You might talk about the law and the legality of things, but even there, it's about who has more money to fight this lawsuit, and what are the incentives on both sides to allow them to actually, you know, one either negotiate and figure it out, or just fight it out, right? Like it really, really comes down to incentives, and it's important for people to actually protect themselves in that way right from the beginning. Thank you. Yeah, so it's all about individual protection and sovereignty. What's your take on Bitcoin's role in the global economy going forward, especially outside the West? That would be, you've had some thoughts about that. So, great question. Just in general, I'm definitely on the train of like Bitcoin hitting a million in 10 years. And that next 10 to 15-year period is going to be amazing, which is also why I want to really be in Bitcoin, building in Bitcoin, earning in Bitcoin, ideally, as we move forward. I think there's even cooler opportunities for us to try like Bitcoin denominated loans, Bitcoin denominated transactions, other tax advantages and arbitrage opportunities, as we really get more and more Bitcoin being utilized in the world, in interactions with others, in interaction with other businesses. Like I keep repeating myself on this, but if you're people don't just use Chinese yuan, or they don't just use the ruble or whatever. You have to be a major trading partner for people to use your currency. So if Bitcoiners, and we really see the vision, or see Satoshi's vision come to life for it being used as a currency, we need to participate in business and everyday interactions in Bitcoin and Bitcoin terms. That's great. And just could you expand on like, in the West and outside the West, you mentioned like your community, halal finance, Muslims. Right. Yeah. So, I'm Muslim. I have connections to my community. It's really great to see them come together. They have ideas for me, honestly, like how we can really continue to live up to Bitcoin's true ethos and make it fairer and better for everybody. Many of them avoid, interest for faith and religious reasons, and that's something I respect and want to give back to and connect with as well. So we're working on a few solutions specifically for that community as too. And longer term, as I mentioned, like just getting things more asset backed is, I think, a big first step. Lovely. Thank you for sharing that about your community. I know, that's it's close to it's close to your heart that way. Just final really conversation around just culture and tone, vibe, community, just extending that conversation, right? What are you hoping for in terms of the vision and culture you want to build? And yeah, so I put that on. I've pinned this on my Twitter. I've pinned this on Grinvold's Twitter. I'd love to see more, like basically curiosity, courage, and compassion really being our core values. Extending that, I think that's how you really get people to adopt and get people to even protect themselves. And I mentioned this at the beginning. It's onboard every muggle to Bitcoin. So fun, just and fun, and a learning environment, and a way to make money and get what you need, and like get what you need in this world. In fact, I like something like Naval. I've heard from Naval Ravikant of the only real test of intelligence in this world for a human being is whether you get out of life what you want from it. And that's something I'd love to share with our community. It's like, what do you want to do with your Bitcoin, really? What's your exit plan? And help people in that direction. Awesome. Any roadmaps or releases or updates that we can look forward to? Honestly, that's a question for my co-founder Izzle. He's told me that the next release to go live net should be around end of May, when we're at the when we're at in Las Vegas for Bitcoin conference. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I am, and I'll be contributing to that as well. And if there's an opportunity for us to revive an ordinal project that we were working on, but that's another topic. We can do that later. Awesome. Thank you so much. And one last question before you go. You've been great to speak with. I'm sure your audience will love you as well. What's one myth or misconception about Bitcoin or personal banking you wish more people would question? A myth, hey, a myth. What myth? Okay, so this is a bit, and I guess it's in the line of controversial things, but number go up. I don't like the number go up. I think it's complacent, um, and doesn't like. I think it's okay to accept that as a reality. Like, I think there is a there's a greed driven narrative, or just personal interest, individual interest driven narrative with Bitcoin always, which is great. Like, miners work out of self interest to create a collective good or benefit. I think that's fantastic. Um, and and number go up is a extension of just that, but I don't think it's enough. I think it's absolutely critical that that Bitcoiners are participating. And again, I repeat myself a lot, but yeah, participating in the economy, investing in Bitcoin businesses, investing in the opportunity to earn more Bitcoin faster. It's like, yes, it's risky. Don't do it with all your Bitcoin 100%, but it's really important for adoption that Bitcoin is used, uh, and and because that's when it's not used and you're relying on number go up, like TradFi guys, well, they won't get it. They will simply continue to see Bitcoin as a risk on asset, and it's like they don't fully understand it. They know that there's public interest in it, and there's still a possibility of it going to zero. But Bitcoiners know it's not going to zero, and if you know that, you should be able to you should be putting where your money putting money where your mouth is, which is why I really enjoy like the Ordinals community. Actually, they actually do participate using their Bitcoin, with all the love to Maxis and Maxi friends. Um, like yeah, get out there, start participating. It doesn't have to be ordinals, but just, hey, if you're a miner even, like that's amazing. You are earning Bitcoin, spending it, paying electricity, earning more Bitcoin, right? Um, whatever floats your boat. That's my take. Awesome, and that's a wrap here for us. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I got a nice long conversation. We might actually split this up before we put it out everywhere, but thank you for your time today, Fa. I know you go by code, and thank you for joining us today.